What are the best nations to be playing wide as in EU4? Obviously, it's a very, very interesting list of nations because I just said it's an interesting list of nations. If you don't agree with it, you're wrong, and that's it. Okay, you can leave. Leave the video right now. No, please don't leave. I'm kidding. Stay, please. I love you, and we can negotiate, okay? So obviously, I'm gonna put Ottomans on this list. It's the first one on the list, so it's not the best one, obviously, right? Why is it the first one on the list? Well, because first off, it is the Ottomans. It starts as one of the biggest nations in the world, and it has a lot of flavor, like the decision here. After you've conquered Constantinople, you become an empire. You get a lot of benefits. You get this horde for free. You get a lot of dev in this. And the most important thing is that you have overpowered units and that you have the best expansion path imaginable. You can dodge aggressive expansion completely by going into the western parts, into the Catholic Orthodox land, and when you wait for that aggressive expansion to go down, you can go into the eastern parts, take into the Muslim lands, be it Shia or Sunni lands, and you can even go into the Great Horde and eventually the Muscovite lands. Essentially, you don't need to worry about aggressive expansion at all because you can just simply rotate between expansions. It's also extremely well positioned geographically speaking, and it has some of the best trade nodes in the world available to it here, with Constantinople being one of them. Another two are over here in the Italian peninsula, which despite most EU4 players not conquering Italy as the Ottomans for some reason. Seriously, you should do it because conquering Italy as the Ottomans and just conquering the Mediterranean basin early on means you're going to be ridiculously overpowered. And you can do that fairly early with an expansion into Venice, take over the city of Venice, and then from there you just munch into the rest of the Italian peninsula after the Shadow Kingdom. Next up on this list is Efkers and Muscovy. Why is Muscovy such an amazing nation to play wide as? Well, obviously it is the Muscovites, right? They are the definition of playing wide. But aside from that, they have these special units here, the Streltsy units, which you can recruit either from your government interaction or just simply put them down on the land here. And these units give out extra damage compared to your regular units. And if you use them from the interaction, they don't take any of your manpower. So that is ridiculously powerful because you basically get units out of thin air. Aside from that, you get the special government reform that helps you blob out and it helps you with the governing capacity. After you get the Russian Tsardom, it's going to be even easier because you get to get claims on entire states rather than provinces when you do get a claim. Plus, you get permanent claims on the entirety of Eastern Europe, all of the Russian region, essentially, which is all of this that I'm highlighting right now. And similar to the Ottomans, you can easily expand into the into the northern parts at the start, kill off your Orthodox broskies, and then dodge aggressive expansion between Sunni lands, Orthodox/Catholic lands, and eventually Tengri lands, and so on. Plus, don't forget, guys, Siberia is one of the best areas for the Muscovites/Russians to have because you can filter in a ton of trade from the Asian parts into your Novgorod node, which can easily become the strongest node in the world, especially after fur increases in potential. You have the highest amount of fur in the world, and let's face it, you're going to conquer the Swedish lands as well, so you're going to have pretty much most of the fur production in the world, and fur does increase in price as you go along in the game. So geography, strength, and big PP help out the Muscovy massively. There you go. I said it, okay? I said it. Next up, a nation not many people are aware of is a really, really great nation, is the Mamluks. Whoa, but Ludi, Mamluks is simply food for the Ottomans. No, it's not, okay? If you know how to play the Mamluks, it's actually way stronger than the Ottomans. And hear me out. First off, the Mamluks actually have stronger units. On the first 1444 units are stronger than the Ottoman units. Eventually, the Ottomans do get better units. But if you really want to get the Ottoman units, what you can do is you can vassalize Adana or Dulkadir or both of them, and you can just recruit units from your vassals, so you have the Ottoman units rather than Muslim units, so you have equally strong units as the Ottomans, which is literally the only difference that basically makes the Ottomans a little bit stronger. Aside from that, the Mamluks have a equally great, even greater in my opinion, Mamluk government reform here as their tier 1 reform that gives out +2 guaranteed admin skill, which is vital for expanding and is vital for world conquest, right? Admin points, because you got to core up all that juicy stuff. Aside from that, you also start with a lot of development. You're the second biggest country in the world at the very start after Ming, and you have easy expansions into the Arabian Peninsula, into the south as well. You get a massive amount of gold mines from the Ethiopian lands, and eventually if you work your way down, you get more gold mines from Kilwa, from Mutapa, and so on. And you also have access, very easy access, into Fezzan, the Maghreb, and all the way into Western Africa and everywhere around around Africa for that matter. That's why it's on this list, essentially. But now, boys, we're gonna go into the actual Chad Lords of World Conquests. And I am really talking about Chad Lords of World Conquests, okay? There's gonna be one nation that's gonna surprise you, and a lot of nations that might not surprise hardened veterans of EU4. That's right, I'm talking about the sweaty boys that sit for 12 hours playing this game and then sit another 10 hours on the Reddit talking about how they played this game, and then they sleep for 2 hours and then complain why they're always tired. Those are the people I'm referring to. The country that I'm referring to, though, is Ming. And yes, it might surprise some of you because Ming does have some debuffs when it comes to expansion in the early game, but after you've managed to get your celestial reforms done, and after you've managed to establish yourself as the ultimate Chinese superpower in the region, well, then no one's going to be able to stop you. Plus, with the recent addition of making tributary nations your vassals, it is just insane. Because let me put this into perspective, okay? Let me just put this into perspective. Eventually, you're going to charter companies, right? So let's say you charter a company in Gujarat. That means that you're going to be able to make tributaries out of everybody in this region. And then you're going to charter a company here. So you're going to make tributaries out of everybody here. And then you can make them vassals from tributaries. Plus, you do start with 1,000 development or 1,100 development. Not such a great mission tree, but yeah, you do start with 1,000 development with the Mandate of Heaven government reform as well. Well, the Celestial Empire reform that offers an extra 500 governing capacity. The Empire of China mechanics. Furthermore, since this is going to be a long game, this is not going to be a fast world conquest as Ming. Keep that in mind. As Ming, you're going to be doing your world conquest within a few hundred years. It is not easy. It is not simple. It is a little bit more complicated, a little bit more tricky, but it is a lot more enjoyable because it does pose a little bit of a challenge compared to most nations, and it does have a completely different play style compared to most playing wide nations out there. I was also going to mention that you start with idea cost minus 10% from having harmonized Mahayana, and every single religious group that you harmonize as the Confucian religion gives you special bonuses like unrest reduction, like production efficiency, like advisor cost reduction here. All of these religions, once they have been harmonized, and it is a painful process, but once they have been harmonized, all of those religions are going to be essentially the same like your primary Confucian religion. They're not going to give any debuffs, which kind of makes Confucian religion decent if it's single player and you're planning on having a long game. We're going in the territory of the Hordes, boys. You all know that Hordes are absolutely overpowered, and that's why I'm going to tell you the Hordes, because obviously every single Horde in the game, even Sarik Yogir, is better at doing a world conquest than the Ottomans. Why is that? Because it's a Horde, and because of the Horde mechanics, right? With the Horde mechanics, you lower the cost for coring and you get mana points in return for raising lands. So that is just insane unto itself, right? This video would have just been 10 Hordes, which are the best playing wide nations. Instead of doing that, I gave you some alternatives, right? I gave you some regular nations, a special nation. Now I'm gonna give you the best Horde nations that you can do a playing wide campaign with. First off is the Timurids / the Mughals. The Mughals is a really good nation for doing a world conquest as well, because after you form the Mughals, you get the special Mughal Diwal, which is a government reform that essentially lets you assimilate and make every single culture in the world as your own culture, and it gives you special bonuses like Ming Confucianism does. Totally great nation to try out as well. Is a really well-positioned nation similar to the Ottomans. There's gonna be a horde here that no one expects, just nobody expects it, okay? But once you go no gay, you're never gonna go back. Since this is an absolutely genius horde, I have a video on Nogay. I have a video on Ming and Ottomans and all the other nations. You'll have a link to those videos in the description if you're interested. But why is Nogay a horde that has generic horde ideas and a horde that does not have too much development at the start? Why is it such a great playing wide nation? Is it simply because of the name? It's not. It's a meme name, I know, but it's actually what they were called, right? The point is that Nogay is extremely well positioned for a world conquest. You can easily kill off Great Horde early on in the game. You can kill off Kazan, you can kill off Uzbek. If you help out Transoxiana, you can backstab them afterwards and you can just kill off the Timurids and then work your way at the same time towards the Indian subcontinent. Whilst you're working towards the Indian subcontinent, you can also thrust into the Muscovite lands, Ottoman lands, and even work your way into the eastern parts, going back into the origins of your Horde lands, into Mongolia, Oirats, and even Ming, and get some of that juicy money from the Bank of Ming if they have not been destroyed yet by other hordes, which doesn't normally happen in single player games unless you're playing as those hordes that border the nation of Ming. So aside from the position, the fact that it is a horde, the amazing map color, and the fact that it is the only nation that has this weird animal that I'm still not sure what it is, and you guys should try it out. And of course, the best nation to do a world conquest with is the Oirats. Why is the Oirats the best nation to do a world conquest and the best nation to play wide as? Well, it is a horde, but not only that, Oirats have special events when it comes to the nation of Ming, where if you have a battle against Ming and you win that battle, then you get an event which makes your armies extremely powerful. Then the second thing you need to do is capture Beijing. It triggers another event that kills off the mandate of Ming, which means their troops are going to be paper troops, and it also transfers the entirety of North Ming to you. So that's basically a guaranteed easy mode war, first war against Ming, which in turn means Ming is going to be your little bitch for the next few wars, in which they're just going to be giving you money, and you're going to use that money to fund your expansion and use that money to just basically do a world conquest and easily expand and destroy all of Asia at first, and then eventually conquer Europe and everything else. I've got a video on that. I think I formed the Mongol Empire and got the Khan achievement by 1506. I wasn't even tryharding. I've seen people do a world conquest by 1470, 1480s. These people did use exploits, that is true, but you don't need to use exploits and you can still get the world conquest legit by 1550, 1520 as the Oirats without out deforing, without HRE exploits and so on. So if you haven't tried Oirats yet, go ahead and try it. You're not going to regret it. Hands down, the best playing wide nation in the game. And until the next time, check out this awesome EU4 video over here, and don't forget to be nice to people, because everybody has feelings, and regardless of whatever your gender, religion, faith, or sexual orientation is, you're all freaking map virgins, so get the fuck over yourself. Now get out of here.